are welcome to the second segment of 10-1 Conversation, today, June 7, 2020. Our ancestors communicated through proverbs because proverbs convey symbolic and enhanced the conceptualization of abstract ideas. Proverbs encourage a curiosity about the meanings. They also exert pressure, or at least suggest that ideas should be related to prior experience. Fundamentally, proverbs are used consciously to educate and drive important messages deeply across emotions without hurting the receiver of the message. One proverb that shall govern this conversation is an Nsọ proverb which says, "Lambi Ishira." Through this proverb, our ancestors informed us that shutting the door is mandatory and should not be subject to debate. The important message in this proverb is that if you go to sleep at night with your door open, simply because you argued and could not agree on who should shut the door, disaster won't segregate. This disaster could be a thief who comes in. The thief wouldn't segregate between you and your brother or you and your sister. The thief wouldn't ask who is supposed to have shut the door. The thief would carry your property and go away. If an animal comes in, that animal won't ask who is supposed to have shut the door and who didn't shut the door. The animal is going to devour both of you. Therefore, how does this proverb align with what is happening in Bui? As Amazonians fight in Bui, who benefits? Does Cameroon never distinguish between the ADF and Bui warriors when they attack? Today we are talking about Samuel Wazizi. Did Cameroon think about the ADF, the IG, Sokadef or Morisk when they took Samuel Wazizi to their torture centers and killed him? As Amazonians fight each other, kill each other, Bui is losing their sons and daughters. Who is benefiting from this? The question, therefore, is who wins and who loses? You are welcome to second segment of 10-1 Conversation. At the anchor, I am Galim Bernard, and at the techniques, we have Ben Oga. Now, let me introduce my guest to you. We have Comrade Yerima Dabno. You're welcome to the program, Comrade Yerima.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
And we have Lady Kate. Welcome to the program, Lady Kate.
I appreciate you for inviting me.
And of course, we have Rani Albert. Nzo, you're welcome to the program, Mr. Nzo.
Happy to be on the same panel with the VP and Sister Ked.
It's such a pleasure talking to people who are solution-oriented. But today my heart bleeds, I weep. And I don't know how I'm going to go about this because we are talking about a situation where people took up arms to fight for the people in self-defense. But it appears to me now that the self-defense has turned otherwise. The local populations are crying. It's a confession we must make. The local populations are crying. And the fighters themselves are crying at each other's bullets. What is actually happening? I know the three of you are working on an initiative called the Bui for Peace Initiative, and I would want to give the opportunity to VP Yerima to talk about what is happening in the backgrounds and the objectives of the peace movement.
Well, thank you, Brother Gali. We are indigents of Bui, and we are Bui. And anything that happens to Bui affects us directly or indirectly. Some of us have lost property, or our families have lost property. We've lost family members as a result of this senseless war declared on us by Paul Biya and his regime in Yaoundé. And all of us understood that we have pursued the fight for our liberation through peaceful means, under the force of argument, not the argument of force. That we're forced to defend ourselves because of the invasion of our Republic into our territory. So our brothers and sisters we took up arms to fight, to defend our property and families. And they were really unprepared to do this. Some of them were unskilled. They were not trained to do this. And they got into this. And today we understand that we as we people are born warriors. We know what it takes to fight an enemy who invades our land. And that is why we earned the name Baghdad in our struggle for the liberation of our nation. But in this fight to liberate our land, we know that a lot of bad faith has got into this struggle. We know that a lot of irresponsible people have got into this fight. And as a result, we've seen the casualties in the in the last few months of what has happened in Bui. We lost about 38 of fighters who were supposed to be fighting to defend homeland, as a result of carelessness and greed and ego. And recently, we even lost some because of ego. And we asked the question, why should we be using a weapon at our own selves instead of fighting a common enemy? That is what it hurts. But in all of this,
let's hear from Albert, the initiative that is on the ground and what the initiative seeks to achieve.
Yeah, thank you so much. I think VP has said almost what the Bui for Peace is all about. We have 3 different groupings that we want to really reach out to. The first is the restoration forces, those we normally call the Amber Boys. I don't call them Amber Boys because I want to give them a more dignified name. They are the restoration forces. And these are mostly the ADF, Bui Warriors, and the ASC. We also want to reach out to the civilians. The civilians are the bedrock of our program. We want to empower them. We want to give the struggle back to them. That is the civilian population. And then the next set of people we want to reach out to is the Bui people, sons and daughters out here in the diaspora. We realize that they are so powerful because of the money they give. But still, there is one thing that is lacking that we cannot give, which is the pain of the people, which is the direct the restoration for our facing. We don't do that. So we cannot completely take authority from them. We have to give them that authority. Because you have money to give, it doesn't mean that you have because you are protecting the civilians, it doesn't mean that you have control over them. So these are the 3 in addition to what the VP has said. We want to reach out to these different groups, and we hope that together we will come out with a solution. Before you go ahead, Mr. Ben.
All right, thank you so much. Did you round up?
Now, one more thing, just one.
Carry on.
Okay, so we realize that the problems that have caused trouble in we have come from outside, but the solutions have emanated from inside. So why not concentrate where the solution can come rather than continue to build where the problem is coming from? It's okay for those in the diaspora to bring out all those issues and propose solutions, but it's only Bui sons and daughters that can actually come out with the solution. So Bui for Peace is oriented towards that.
All right, thank you. And Lady Kate, so far, what have you done under the Bui for Peace movement or initiative to ensure that there is some sanity and some peace in Bui?
Yeah, I've done quite a little bit. I've tried to raise awareness. I've talked to people. I've talked to some commanders on the ground. I've even asked my children, to raise awareness with the youths. We need to make our youths, the kids that were born in the diaspora, to take the baton on. So I received some really good answers from some of our commanders on the ground and other sympathizers. I want to tell everybody that I'm apolitical. I don't have any, affiliations to any political party. I support everybody that does right. So I've been raising awareness a lot, begging other forums, talking to other forums to give us pointers, because at the Bui for Peace, you can see those of us who are there, we're working hard round the clock and trying to bring solutions. We're doing really well. I really applaud all of you. But the answers are not easy to come by. As I'm sitting here, I don't even have solutions, but I have pointers. So all I do is, I just raise awareness, tell people or ask people to give me solutions, inform people about what is going on in Bui. It is so sad. We're losing all our young boys. We're losing all our young boys. I have a lot to say, but I'll just stick to the question. But I'm doing a lot in the background. I'm getting a lot of information, which I need to pass to somebody, from back home.
All right. Thank you so much. Like I said in my introduction, our ancestors used to communicate effectively through proverbs. So I think I'm gonna proceed today by proverbs. And there's a proverb I want to talk about. I don't know where it comes from, but it says, knowledge is like a garden. If it is not cultivated, it cannot be harvested. And an interpretation to this proverb says, if you don't make efforts to acquire knowledge, then you would not expect to have it. And if you do not put the knowledge to your use, you cannot expect to gain anything from it. VP, is this a problem of knowledge about what they should be doing, or is it a problem of having the knowledge but preferring to do something else? Ogana Fao.
Knowledge is part of the problem. They need to be well trained. They need to understand international conventions with regards to what they are doing, because there are consequences in every action that you take. And we know that they were just called into this because without a lot of them not having the training that they need to do that. And we want to also use this platform to educate them on how to defend Bui responsibly. So that is part of the plan that we have as Bui for Peace, to educate them to defend our territory responsibly. So we will be doing education. They will be, and also try to see how much we can bring the Bui people together to provide opportunities for training and effectiveness in defending Bui.
Yeah.
All right. Talking about knowledge, Albert, is one of the objectives of the Bui for Peace initiative education?
Yes. You see, some of our restoration forces have been fighting for 4 years, non-stop. I think any other person will understand that they go through post-traumatic stress disorder. Those are things that needs to be handled. I know it may sound kind of something that cannot be actually implemented, but it is a must. You cannot be in the bushes for 4 years, maybe shooting guns and seeing corpses, and you are affected emotionally. So sometimes the actions we take are as a result of what we've gone through. So there is going to be political education in this sense from the Bui for Peace, and that's what we are working on to make sure we can actually have experts who will work with the restoration forces, or sometimes they themselves can go to such training and then they know how to in this
Okapen, it seems there is some echo coming in.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, so we want to deal with the post-traumatic stress disorder. That is for the part of the restoration forces. And then also we want to empower them to ask questions. You know, feel free to answer the question. You are a soldier, not necessarily because you have a gun. It's first you have the intellect to make decisions before you pull that trigger. You have a human heart that you need to think before you end somebody's life. So it's not just something that should be taken lightly. Then to the civilian population, we want to let them know that the restoration forces cannot win the war without their support. Even if it is food, you know, when it started, they used to do that. People will give them food, people will support them financially. But now, with many people betraying them and so on, there is so much infighting in between these two groups. So we want to bridge that gap. And then to the diaspora, the kind of political education we want to pass is that we are building a nation in the 21st century. It's not a Njangi group. It's not a local something. You know, you need to have a holistic approach in whatever thing you are doing. You know, the economy comes in, the cultural aspect comes in, all those things comes in. So the diaspora, because they've been exposed, they say when you stand from outside, you can see your house better. The diaspora needs to come in with a holistic perspective of what restoration of the independence of Ambazonia mean coming out of Bui.
Thank you. Lady Kate, Albert is talking about education, and he's kind of telling the diaspora to play a leading role in this. Do you see the diaspora doing that after all these 4 years of this movement? Do you see the diaspora doing constructive education?
If they were doing constructive education, we wouldn't be here right now. You know, what I see is, I'm gonna say it as I see it. You know, if you're gonna take a position of power or of a leadership, make sure you got the skills, the experience, or the technical know-how in that position. Some people take it for various reasons, them alone no. So sorry. You know, some people take it for fame, some take it for maybe to become a leader, some take it as a revolutionary. I take it as a revolutionary. You know, I'm a humanitarian, you know, by nature. So that's where I stick. So I'll ask everybody in the diaspora to stick to what they know best. You know, a lot of these problems back home is because of us. You know, us, we need to take the blame. We need to start by, you know, with ourselves and ask ourselves, what have you done, you know, or not do to cause this problem? Because these people back home, our brothers and sisters back home, they're relying on us for everything. They're listening to us. You know, I've got information from people back home that, you know, they take orders from leaders over here. That's why everything is crazy and there's this carnage back home. So we need to take positions that we are specialized in. I know that in, you know, there are certain positions, there are people in certain positions that take their ways into jobs and to, you know, and to positions that they have no business in. That kills me. Why would you put our people's lives, you know, just for your own personal gratification? You know, you know, it hurts me. But, you know, like for me, I'm here to give love to everybody. I'm going to flood them with love until they have nothing else but to love back.
Yeah, that is a very engaging and a very charming engagement that you are taking there. I'll come to you later on to ask how you are going to do that. But let me talk to VP. She has spoken about leadership, and this is the brunt of the whole thing. Is leadership not a problem? You being one of those leaders, do you talk to yourselves? You should be able to know and have contacts with all the leaders who are having these troops on the ground who fight each other. When you talk to them, what is the message they give you?
Well, we talk about seeing how we can coexist together and defend homeland responsibly. And I believe that is my mission when engaging these leaders. And as a result of that, I believe we would have gone into a civil war before, when the first incident happened, when we had this outburst from Igor about the 23 who were missing in Bui. It is important that in leadership, we train responsible leaders, because what they are doing there, if you don't have a structure, leadership must work with a structure. If you don't have a structure, nothing works. And that is why they are easily penetrated, because they are listening to different people. And we understand that if you can bring them together and organize a central structure, which is one of the factors of creating a Bui for Peace, seeing that we can coordinate their activities and get them to coexist, the different groups to coexist. That is what we are talking about, because one thing we have to understand is we are and sisters of Amazonia. So you cannot say or kind of segregate somebody from Mancon because he's from Mancon. No, there are people who are from Mancon who grew up in Bui or who are working in Bui. So we need to see how we can accommodate this, because these groups together, so that they can work together for the common purpose of defending our people. So they need to get the right knowledge to do this. And that is what I always tell to all our leaders. And they buy that. I know it's difficult because, you know, when you come with different ideologies, people who've been operating with different ideologies, it is difficult at times to buy into the ideology. But with time, when you keep on persisting and trying to show them practical steps to achieving that, you know, they buy your idea. And that is why I believe this platform invited the different factions under certain leaderships in the revolution. And they came. Some did not, but we've not given up. And that's why we've engaged the Bui people to come together and say, hey, it's time we come back together. That spirit of brotherliness must come back to Bui. That is who we are. I mean, just going somewhere and you speak Lamso, a Bui man just identifies you speaking Lamso. The next thing is Adruin Soa. And if he has to help you, he just helps you without looking back. That is who we are. And in that spirit, we can together defend Bui in a more responsible way with strong leadership. And that is what Bui for Peace is all about.
Thank you. Albert, from the conversation so far, I'm under the impression that this Bui for Peace initiative is not tied to any particular Amazonian movement. Have you been able to bring together representatives from all Amazonian movements?
Yes, in fact, I think the goal that we have in Bui for Peace is the diversity. Sometimes discussions are very intense and you can see extreme views and then you can see those who are in the middle. It is difficult to run that kind of a diverse group, but that is who we are. That is Bui. You know, when it started, the first person who died, I think you can remember in Boya, was a Windsor. When it came to Bamenda, it was a Windsor. When they have gone to Douala, when they've gone to Yamé, it's always in someone who dies first. So we've always come together during pain. We know how to come together. So despite the diversity that we have, which we appreciate so much, we love the fact that we come together and fight best when things are really hard. I know that when Honorable
Technical room. Is there a problem out there?
Yeah, thank you. I think it's gone. Yeah, okay. I was making reference to what Honorable Wiba did. You know, when he mounted the restroom at the glass house with then the Republic Jukama Road, every so identified with what he said. Because we are warriors. We are not warriors simply because we have the strength to fight. We are warriors because we know how to come together to fight. And that is the most important thing. So,
this brings me to a question, Albert.
yeah.
We are talking about Bui is constituted of at least 3 different tribes, Uso, Noni, and Oku. Is this situation of infighting spread up all over Bui, or is it limited to Uso?
Yeah, there's a little bit of interference coming. Oh, thank you. Yeah, for now, since we are still building, we've had, I think, 4 meetings. It's been difficult to have Oku, but I've reached out to them, and their response was that because of lack of trust, they will have to do a kind of background check. I mean, in terms of the restoration forces. But now, in terms of the civilian population, we are looking for the real Oku restoration forces, who at this time do not even align to any other group that can come on board. We want to make it a Bui thing. And as I think Sister Kate said, it is not one specific group, it is about Bui. And we want to empower the civilian population, and we want to empower the restoration forces. So the strategies that would be to have in coexistence between these two different segments. But we look forward to having Oku and so Noni and other tribal groupings in Bui.
All right, thank you. Lady Kate, now let's talk about the education, because Albert is actually talking about the empowerment. Is your educational strategy going to be separated in such a way that you educate the diaspora separately from those on the ground, or you are concentrating only on those on the ground? Are you talking to civilians or civilians under the Amazonian soldiers? Unmute yourself, please. Sister Kate, unmute yourself. Ben, can you please unmute Lady Kate?
Oh, yeah, it's on now. All right. Sorry. Okay, education. Education will be for everybody, diaspora and on the ground. You know, I'm gonna paraphrase because I don't think this is gonna be like the exact quote. They say a fighter with a gun who doesn't know what they're doing is a criminal. So we need to educate our boys back home that before you pull that trigger, know that you're pulling it on the enemy, not on your own brother. Educate them, how to be humble. I need to, before I continue, let me read just a phrase from the Bible that I wrote down. It's Ephesians 4, verse 1 to 2. Lead a life worthy of the calling to which you have been called, with all humility and gentleness, with patience, bearing with one another in love. Make every effort to maintain the unity of spirit in the bound of peace. That kind of education, to educate our leaders and to educate our boys. We need to educate them about unity. We need to educate them about love, about working as a team. What you think it's gonna be when we're about to get to Boya and all the boys, the men are dead. What are we fighting for? Who is the common enemy? We've got one enemy, only one enemy. So they need this education. No matter how you angry with your brother, you need to make peace. We need reparation. Forgiveness. So with the diaspora, I would say, please, if you don't know what you're doing, ask for help. I'll come and ask for help for anybody. Like before I came here, I asked people for help. There are courses on the internet. There are courses everywhere. You can go and, just Google something. How do I, how can I get peace or bring peace to my, to my community. They appoint us. How do I problem solve something? They appoint us. They also need education.
Thank you very much, Lady Kate. VP, let's get this quote. If you offend, ask for pardon. If offended, forgive. This is one of the cardinal principles of Christianity, Islam, and of course, cultures. Are we in a situation where people are replicating the wrong thing they did because they don't want to recognize the initial wrong, go back to the initial problem and solve it? Is that a situation? Unmute yourself, VP. Unmute yourself, VP.
That has been the situation, but our goal is to fix it, and we are fixing it. And that is why it's important that we bring these parties together. And we talk, yes, I've been talking at the background to leaders who have defense groups in Bui. And when you talk to leadership, you don't know what kind of maybe impression or idea the commander on the field has. Because we understand that now people are, like aiming at people. They're not, aiming at the bigger picture, which is fighting to protect our territory. Or people are trying to, use this to position themselves as people of power. But that is not the essence. So what we are doing is to see that we create an environment where all of us can talk together, fix things together, come as brothers and sisters. And that is why we have sent out invitations to the different stakeholders in Bui to come and let's sit. We've gotten also some resources from these sources as to what has been happening in Bui. Some were so heartbreaking. So we have all this evidence on the table, and we want to use it to, as, the tool to bring peace and ask for forgiveness and then pave a better way out to defend our territory and defend our people and also regain that hope from our communities, because even now people are even afraid to go home to bury their loved ones. That should not happen in Bui. People are even afraid just to go home to the hospital. We have one of the best hospitals in our territory, or two of the best, Shisong and BBH. People are afraid. We need to stop this. And that is why this platform has been created to fix all these problems that we are having, and people can regain the hope, the trust back. And then also now our self-defense forces will have the ability to defend responsibly. If possible, when we come together as we people, we'll be supporting them with food and even sometimes money. But we want to come up with a situation where we can even give them stipends if possible. And that's why it's important that we reach out to the entire Bui community. We've already sent a letter to them. I want them to engage with Bui for Peace so that we can achieve these goals that we've set forth for ourselves.
All right. Mr. Albert, one of the most, I think somebody needs to mute. One of the most significant hindrances to mutual understanding in this revolution has been the fear of losing power and influence in certain circumstances, and at times in the whole territory. Is the Bui for Peace initiative an idea that is going to seek to replace the existing movements or to provide an overarching structure in Bui that controls all movements, all the liberation movements in Bui?
Oh, thank you so much. Let me make it clean and clear. We are not destabilizing any structure. We are not touching any group. We are not touching any movement. We are not changing any name. What we are doing is to make good use of the existing structures, is to make good use of the existing institutions. You know, in So you have Tante, same thing with in Oku and in Noni. You have Shufais, you have funds, you have community leaders that are already there. You cannot, as a restoration force, sideline these people and hope to achieve something. So what we are doing is to bring out these structures and institutions and the civilian population to work in synergy. That is very important. And I think any Amazonian community should actually copy this. It is not just whether it's county by county, whether it's block by block, whatever, there must be a synergy between the restoration forces and the communities in which they are serving, they are protecting. Let me give you an example to tie with what VP said. You see, the number of prisoners under the restoration forces have been increasing. We understand that these people have betrayed them, or these people have offended other members of the community. Technically speaking, it is heavy for you to carry a gun to fight like Republic and keep a criminal in your cell. Morally speaking, you stigmatize the community you serve. So if somebody does something that is not in line with the restoration process, and you are a restoration force, there are things that you can do, and we are working on those things. And we are thinking of reaching out to the Red Cross, for example. We are thinking of reaching out to the different churches, to the different communities. And that is what So used to do. I don't know if you remember the days of Kitupi. We were not necessarily killing criminals. We sent them on exile. That means to end somebody's life should be the last thing you want to do. We do that with La Republic to Cameroon because we don't have a choice. They are coming to us, and that's why we call it self-defense. But if a member of your community does something that you think is treasonous, worthy of him to be killed, know that once you kill that person, you stigmatize the community in which he lives. Secondly, the law must apply. We are not a lawless people. Then third, why even waste a bullet? So we for Peace is actually working on how we can, those people that have been castigated by the restoration forces or who have been rejected by the communities, we want to see how we can actually work in making sure that lives are not necessarily killed. You know, if somebody sent me to come and kill you, Ben, and then you arrest me and you tie my hands, if you want to actually win me, look for the person who sent me. Then you target my boss. Because if you kill me, my boss will send another person, and that person will be your brother. And you will kill your brother, you will kill your sister, but the person sending them is free. So we should look at the bigger goal, and we'll save communities and we'll save the struggle.
Thank you. Sister Kate, Albert has landed on a point that seems very important for us. If you're sent to go and kill, you may end up killing your own brother. Is this sense of brotherliness, family, is it completely lost, or do you think that is something that the Buoy for Peace initiative can reignite in these boys? Because I want to imagine that there are situations where there is a fighter in, say, in the ADF whose brother is in Buoy Warriors. Do you think that sense of brotherhood has been lost in this fight in Buoy?
Not at all. Not at all. You know, the brotherlyhood, the love is still there. It's just that, you know, we've got to a certain situation where there's a misunderstanding amongst our brothers back there. Some of them, not all of them, because like I told you, I speak to a few commanders or some people back there, some fighters, and believe you me, they are from different factions, and they want peace. Some of them, they're scared to say something in case they get killed. You know, so it's not lost. Actually, there's a lot of love back there. You know, it's up to us to rekindle that love. You know, it's all up to us to, you know, to show them love and to tell them how we care, because, you know, they seem, some of them, I'm not going to say all of them. Oh gosh, sorry, I don't know what happened. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Oh Lord, I don't know what happened. Okay, I think I'm back. Some of them seem to think that we in the diaspora, we just here to stir trouble, and we're there sitting in the comfort of our homes. And for some of that is true. Sitting on, you know, in the comfort of our homes, having a shelter over our heads, you know, and eating, you know, and eating good food, and they're sleeping in the bushes, their families being killed, kidnapped, you know, houses burnt. And all we do is we give like 100,000, or somebody will give like, I'm gonna say it as it is, it's raw. Some of them have confirmed that, you know, there are people in the diaspora that will give like 100,000 or 200,000 to get somebody killed. That is so bad. I'm so ashamed. I'm so appalled, you know, of all of that. There's a lot of love back there. You know, when I received an audio, you know, that audio from one of our commanders, it brought back hope. It brought back a lot of hope, because I know that in there, they know that what is happening is wrong. It's just that they don't know how to get it back. Why? Because of some of our leaders. I'm not going to say all of them, because some of our leaders are trying to make peace, but some of them, they don't want to talk. I really feel disturbed that we've got leaders that have so much influence and that can have the ability to stop all of this, and they just keep mute. You know, what is the reason for that? I'm really appalled. You know.
All right. Thank you. You've mentioned about leaders. Let me put this to the VP. You're one of the leaders in this revolution. We cannot talk about leadership and we don't mention you. And this is happening in your backyard. When the some say 23, some say 39, some say 40, when they were killed, we did not hear a powerful statement from you. Why didn't you make a powerful statement condemning what is happening in your own backyard? Unmute yourself, please.
Sorry, you did not follow me at the time. I made a statement. I wanted to get all the facts right. I had to consult all the leaders involved, stakeholders at the background, before I made a statement. And I made a very powerful statement and emphasized that no Ambazonian has the right to take the life of any Ambazonian. That statement, I made it out there. And I even call out some names of people who have been misguiding this restoration forces to take that kind of action. And I walked at the background, and like what our sister Kate said, that there are some leaders who go at the background and they know that these people are desperate. So they need money. They use money to influence them to do the wrong thing. And that is what happened in Bui, because I talked with some of the actors at the background and even warned them, cautioned them on any misguided actions. And I said, if you take this kind of action, there will be consequences. And we've seen that consequences for a case like Shasha. So when there is a crisis, you don't go and cry on social media. You need to, consult, talk with the actors, and then get the facts straight before you come out. I'm not excited to come out and say things that I don't know. I must tell you what is the fact, what is the situation on the ground. That is my approach to things. And that is what I did. And I came out, and I'm so shocked. And after that, when that happened, I remember when I talked to Comrade Dr. Choayaba, he told me and promised me that we will not go into a civil war, because that is what they were purporting at that time.
What did he mean by we will not go into a civil war?
Because at the time, you had a lot of audios. ADF was so angry. And a lot of people were talking on social media that they should rally up, get troops, go and fight Bui. And I told him, you don't have to do that. That is irresponsible. We should not go that route. Like the way I handled the situation of General Kapo when he was arrested by Shasha, sure that Dr. Cho spoke with him. And later on, he spoke with him. He was so excited and spoke with his general. And later on, Shasha and Kapo came out. And and tried and in a kind of reconciliation. So, but when the incident of the 28 to 38 people happened, I warned Shasha. I said, the only thing you can do to your brother is, if you suspect any misplay, what you do is just keep them. You can keep them and let's solve this amicably. Don't listen to external influences that will make you take actions that will be consequential. Because a lot of external influences were coming to him, and we could see that, you know, or even on TV, even when the chairman of Bui Worldwide was on TV, that day I wept. I wept when I saw him there and what he was saying, because that was not correct. Our boys, they want to work together, but we need to create that environment for them to work together. And as leaders, we should not be inciting them to be divisive. And that is what has been happening. We need to stop that. And it takes the Bui people to stop that, because the consequences is heavy on us than those from outside who influence them to take unreasonable actions, which has a lot of great consequences, not only on them, but the entire community of Bui. And that has to stop. Everywhere in Ambazonia has to stop. We saw that in Manu. I just got information that they are trying to start it again in Boyo. I hear it's in Momo. But it must stop. The Manu people have come together and they said, this will not happen there. We've heard the people of Menchu. They say, no, it will not happen. Boyo also told me it will not happen. And this is what we'll do. And we need to do this to show the Ambazonian people that every life, Ambazonian life, matters. No one has a right, no Ambazonian has the right to take any life of any Ambazonian. And that we will not tolerate. Be you a leader or be you a civilian, we will not tolerate that. And that is why we for peace. I started this initiative. Our peace reigns in we.
Thank you very much, VP. That sounded like solid leadership, and I'm under the impression that as the We for Peace initiative is going forward, your leadership is going to replicate and help these boys and girls who are offering their lives and those who are targeting them. I hope that is not going to happen again. Mr. Albert, we are talking about a situation where there are groups that are fighting each other. Has We for Peace initiative identified these groups already? And is there any possibility of a Cameroon-sponsored militia existing in Bui? Like Cameroon's presidency recently agreed that they are sponsoring a Fulani militia in Garbu in the report. So is there a militia like that in Bui?
No, I think it's possible to give a definite answer here because the restoration forces in Bui are basically under the ADF or the Bui warriors. We also have aspects of the ASC. So if there were divergence in terms of these groups, then it is possible to infiltrate and put tiny groups around. And I also want to say the idea of bad Amber boys and good Amber boys has been hugely reduced, because you know that this group belongs to this person, this group is being led by this person. You see, when the 23 were killed, and then those videos came out of them being tortured and turned around, you know, I was feeling so bad. I felt so bad. It hurt me seeing that these guys who had been arrested would later on be killed. And you could hear people saying from behind the scene, let's kill them with their shoes on. No, let's take off their shoes before we kill them. You know, you've already arrested them. And what made it worse was because major leaders of the revolution came out and gave their own stories. But still, it was to make political gains out of the lives of those children. It's not like they are ghosts, you know, they have parents that you could reach out to. They have brothers and sisters you could reach out to. So when ADF actually saw what happened and wanted to retaliate, we want to appreciate what VP Yerima did, and we want to appreciate what other people did, that the ADF did not retaliate. And when We for Peace started, I thought ADF would not come in. So we brought in the Bui Warriors, the Bui Worldwide, and then the Bui County donors. They are almost the same people. And then we brought in the ADF. So they came together and they had, I think, 2 meetings. Then all of a sudden, they were now blackmailing and saying things like, oh, it is appealing to the wrong people. So we still want to reach out more. Thank you for a platform like this. We want to reach out to people like 1cc, that is 1cc, who is aligned with the Bui Worldwide. We want to reach out to we want to reach out to all those donors. You know,
I said the Worldwide Bui and Bui County donors are not part of the, do not respond positively to the invitation?
They did not. I am part of the Bui Worldwide, you know, but I am taking now a neutral role so that I can bring everybody on deck. I am happy that ADF is still hanging in there. Sheikh Khalid is there. I appreciate him every day. Despite the numerous things they talk about him and the numerous things he has to say about others, sometimes we say, please just hold it. When we meet as brothers and sisters, communication is best when you see somebody face to face, when you talk heart to heart. Somebody like Vela Franklin, whom I didn't know would stay up till now, he is still there, despite the numerous death threats he's had from United States of America to Nigeria to Ground Zero. He is still there. So I want to, when I'm sending this invitation to 1cc specifically and to Elvis, is because it is going to solve an aspect of the problems that we are facing in Bui. But now the structure and the institution we want to build is to prevent further problems from emanating, is to make sure that those problems don't come about. You know, Chacha and Fon, they will not go as far back as 2-3 different big compounds. Last year, can see. So we are almost like, whether you are from Zekwa, you are from Kum, you are from Kimbo, you are from wherever, it's almost like Bui is one. Even when you want to talk about Oku, you've had prince and princesses who've interchanged marriages. You've had prince and princesses who've exchanged poured libations across boundaries, same as Noni. So there is not so much difference. And I just want to say the ATF is very active with the Bui for Peace. I am part of the Bui Worldwide, but I would prefer to take a neutral role for now, just like many other persons. I appeal to Kate to take a neutral role, to Vicky to take a neutral role, but we want to appeal more to the Bui Worldwide, the Bui County donors to come on board so that together we can get this thing rolling faster than it could have been without them.
All right, thank you. We should be rounding up. Lady Kate, it sounds as if it is a very pathetic situation. The woman in you, you've been sounding very positive. Do you still maintain that positive posture after listening to VP and to Albert?
Absolutely. I'm very positive. We're going to win this war. You know, we got to a hurdle. We're in a hurdle. We need to cross that hurdle and keep moving. But, you know, what I need to say is every leader that is keeping quiet, that is not making an effort to solve this issue, either at home or in the diaspora, can you get yourself out of this struggle? remove yourself. It's not your father's struggle. It belongs to all of us. If you're sitting there thinking that whatever you are, that you're gonna put this on our people, it's not gonna happen. I'm asking you nicely to take yourself out. We should stop being the nicey people we are. Even all the generals back home that are incompetent, fire them, get them out. I don't care whether they're the Elvises or whoever they are. We've got upcoming, we need a robust leader, a leader for the people, a leader who has empathy, who is a problem solver, who can help bring up unity and peace. We don't need leaders that are sitting there, with tight upper lips, and just letting our people die, and being kidnapped. Look at our parents back home. You don't know that I lose so many sleepless nights. I'm a very shy person now, to tell you the truth. For me to come here today, it's a big issue. I was debating whether to come, but I said, my people are dying back there. I do my own thing by myself, and I help people, when I need. But, these leaders, I'm telling you now, whoever you are, I don't care who you are, get yourself out. If you're not competent, get the hell out.
All right, thank you. VP, from the analysis we have made so far and from the situations that have presented themselves, we find a situation that we can make preemptive conclusions that some people have erred and some people have committed crimes. Would the Bui for Peace initiative serve like a court to try and determine guilt and sanction, or is it a forum for reconciliation and peace to mend the way forward? Unmute yourself, please.
Some people have committed some crimes. That is very true. We are working on trying to see how we can get facilities on how we can be able to handle such people who are guilty of such crimes. Because now it is difficult to really handle that. But what We for Peace is doing first is to see that we can bring peace and reconcile. And when we do that, we can curb the rate of crimes, the kidnappings, the ransom takings, and also stop the external influence that encourages our brothers and sisters to kill themselves or fight amongst themselves. So the whole thing is we're trying to look at a situation and find the right solutions to handling all this issue. That is one of the challenges that we have. It's just like I told you, when they got to 23, I said, try as much as possible to keep them. And nobody should maybe take away any life. But later on, we saw those videos when they were, planning to kill them. And it was really heartbreaking. So we know that there are problems like that. That is where we have loopholes in carrying out this kind of activities. But we are also looking into that. Our team, our defense team is also looking into that to see that if we have, betrayals, enablers within us, how do we handle that? Because some people say, oh, this is an enabler. Just take away his life. That is not correct. So we need to see how we can work out ways to handle issues like that. But for now, We for Peace is, our initiative is to bring our brothers together and say, okay, yes, I've made a mistake. I'm sorry. Let us work together. Let us reason together. Let us plan together. Let us work out strategies that will work for our communities and work for our people and defend the entire Amazonian struggle. I believe that if we can come up with this model, other counties and local government areas will pick this. And I believe that we will form a coalition of focusing just on the enemy, not on ourselves.
All right. Thank you so much. So now, if we are talking about bringing people together, Albert, how accommodating and how tolerant is the Bui for Peace initiative to ensure that those VP is talking about can actually come there, knowing that they would actually provide solutions and provide an accommodation for everybody within Bui? Should Bui warriors, ADF, ASC, and all that people feel at home in the Bui for Peace initiative. Unmute yourself, Albert. Albert, unmute yourself.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, let me beg permission from Mr. Vela. I don't know if he's watching, but let me use him as an example to demonstrate how accommodating we are. We know how HDF is. They are a group of people who are so tied together. When they decide to do something, they want to do it so vigorously. We know how Vela platform had been in passing out the information that he gets, and he is somebody who is widely related. So he gets lots of information. So when we started with the We for Peace, the first thing we realized that is having power is communication. So we reached out to him and said, Mr. Vela, you said a lot of good things, but there are certain things you said which will not be accommodating to many people with diverse views from Bui. Please, if you can go to your Facebook page and delete those aspects, do that for the sake of peace. And Vela went to his Facebook page and deleted those things that he has said about people which we thought were inflammatory. Then he came back again, and then some people said, oh no, he has said this to me, let me apologize, that he needs to apologize. So again, we went back to Mr. Vela, and he said, for the sake of peace, he will apologize. He apologized. And then they came back again and said, it is not enough. When you apologize, you don't have to justify. We went back to him again. He came. So the first thing is communication that we need with one another. The same communication I would have loved to have with Vela is the same kind of relationship I would have loved to have with Elvis, with 1CC, and with other members of the Bui worldwide. So communication is the most basic thing that we want to have, talk with one another. The second thing is that we want to form committees that can actually come with practical solutions that can be implemented. It goes beyond just talking. You know, the restoration forces comes on Camry, they want to eat. They need money for granules. They need more guns to face a republic. When they don't have money and they're going through post-traumatic stress disorders, what do? That is when now they start arresting. So if we can just start talking basically, you know, we can solve many problems. At this level, we just want to encourage dialogue. We for peace, everybody has the right to speak. We encourage maturity, how we reach out, but there is that decency. And if you speak the truth, frankly speaking, don't be scared. Even if you do not think that what you are saying is right, just come and talk. We talk like brothers and sisters. It's one house. It's a very friendly environment. Nobody should actually be intimidated by We for Peace. It's a very calm, honoring environment to actually talk about the restoration without getting personal conflict with one another.
Thank you very much, Albert. It seems you've been doing some formidable job there, and I think from what you've said, Vela Franklin needs to be commended for such humility. In the first segment of this program, I actually in my introduction said preconceived ideas are changed only with great humility. If you're not humble enough to accept you are wrong, you cannot change and foster the common good. Lady Kate, this is going to be our last words each. What message are you sending to Bui, to Ambazonians, and to Bui for Peace in your last word?
I want to tell everybody, you know, in Bui, you know, from the diaspora right down to ground zero, that there's a lot of support for you guys out here. You might just see the few, you know, bad apples that are manifesting. You know, the love that we have for you is so immense. You know, we'll do everything. You can hear about this Bui for Peace. We're doing something. You know, communicate with us. Trust us. Just one more time. Just trust us. I'm talking to the boys. Listen to us, please. Open your hearts and listen to us. You know, we are humans, but we'll do our best, our utmost but best, you know, to get us together and get us united and have peace. And that will start by reparation. Come out, you know, like apologize for their errors. You know, no group can stand and say, oh, I didn't do anything wrong. Everybody has a skeleton, you know, in their backyard. So be a man, be a woman, come out and say, I'm sorry I did this. We'll forgiveness. You know, and then we'll start uniting. And then we'll be the warriors that we used to be. Where are our kings? Where are our queens? You know, I mean, I'm still so proud of you. You guys are doing a marvelous job. You're doing a marvelous job. I'm so proud. You don't know how proud I am. You know, so, you know, even though I'm here, I don't sleep. I think about you all the time. So there are so many other good and well-meaningful people, Cameroonians and bands of people in the diaspora that are routing for you. You know, so peace to everybody, peace.
Thank you very much, Lady Kate.
Can I say one more thing?
Yeah,
and I want to thank everybody, all of my comrades in Bui for Peace. You know, I'm so proud of you. You're all amazing. You know, let's agree to disagree. You know, we need to have diverse opinions in order to grow. You know, we need to accept people from different backgrounds. I'm so happy you guys, you know, invited me to the forum, and I'm so glad you guys invited me here. You know, so because I didn't even know I'm worth anything, you know, to be in your midst. You know, so I'm really, I really thank Bui for you know, when I'm there, I feel so much peace, and I'm so happy, and it's so positive. Thank you all for being so humble and very friendly and very understanding. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sister Kate. Let me have Albert before I have the VP. Albert, could you give us your last word here?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Ben. I would have objected if you wanted me to say the last word. What I want to say is that first, to my community, you know, I was born in Bam, Ngenzen. I grew up in Tobin. You see, I know the people and I know their heart for this revolution. There is so much fear, and that fear is not coming just from the Republic. That fear has been coming of recent, mostly from the Restoration Forces. And I know the Restoration Forces because most of my friends are there, and there are a lot of people that we've supported financially to be able to be part of the Restoration Forces. And they are also scared. And part of the fear is the betrayal that is coming from the community. So you see, La Republique is not a big problem for us to deal with if we come together. So for peace is going to be reaching out for us to bridge that gap and not be scared of one another. And as Kate said, there is nothing that can stop fear if we don't love. When we love, then we'll kill fear. And we are coming up with structures and institutions, not just to handle the moral part of it, but to handle the structural part of it. What do you do with a gun? What do you do when a restoration force is beside your house and you know that the public will be coming next to get you? So those are things that we need to deal with on cutting the that our communities are safe in the way they are going to fight for the restoration of Amazonia. Then to the diaspora, I want to plead on you. Money is not necessarily power. Power is with the people. Let us empower those in ground zero. Let us empower our mothers, the Shufais, the Fons, the Bikis, whatever title holder. Let us empower them, the communities, and together we can be able to work as one. And whether you are ADF, whether you are Bui Warrior, whether you are ASC, it's possible for us to operate in this big space. The space is too big, and chase the Republic out of our territory.
Thank you very much, Albert. VP, can you give us that last word?
I'm so proud to be, you know, in Bui for Peace. Mr. Kate and Brother Albert has just said, I don't think you're expecting a last word from me. This is just leadership. That is the kind of leadership Ambazonia is supposed to have. People who understand and value life. People who respect the rights to live. And I think that should be our approach into, pursuing the freedom of our people. We have to respect lives by respecting each other. And in We for Peace, we start by respecting you, no matter where you, maybe no matter your affiliation. We show you respect, we show you love. And when you make that, that helps that person to feel welcomed, to feel at home, and know that I'm with my brothers and sisters. And it helps them to open up. We talk about, frankly, when I put something on the forum, and he said, VP, it's been long, we've been long waiting for this. I said, my brother, I can't understand. I have a lot on my table. So it's no excuse for me not being so proactive, but I can understand. Thank you. That is humility. That is leadership. And you be in a place where you need to give our brothers the opportunity to express themselves. I want to talk to our people back that there is a lot of love for you out here in the diaspora. And there's a lot that we can do to fix the wrongs that has been going on in our territory. But it takes respect, it takes responsibility, and it takes, above all, coming together as that one big family to do this. And that's why we're encouraging you that engage with We for Peace. We want to bring peace because that's what is going to give us the life that we seek post this revolution, or how we want to live and protect ourselves right now. So let us not miss this opportunity to come together, because God is on our side. And that's why if God says his peace, and like Kate says, I came, I felt peace, and God is with us. And for those of us in the diaspora, I want to say this. Let us stop inciting hate. Let us stop inciting division. Let us stop the smear campaigns. Let us stop the backbiting. And let us come together and put a strong leadership in place and deliver our people from the nightmares of La République du Cameroon. That is our responsibility. That is the course we need to fight. It's not fighting ourselves to show how powerful we are. That is not leadership. Leadership is talking to the people, taking the people along with them and showing them the direction to victory. And that is what We for Peace is all about. So I ask you to come together. Let us come together. I'm not worried about any smear campaigns, but I'm ready to approach any Amazonian of good faith who wants this revolution to go forward. Let us talk peace. Let us engage together, and let us fight together as comrades and deliver our homeland. We are just at the verge of liberating our homeland. And let's not let this fall by. We can do this. We can make it happen. And that's why it's good to fix it. I remember I was in Manchester. One of our daughters wrote a poem that circulated on social media. She had never been to Southern Cameroon. She was born in England. And when she saw what has been happening there, and she saw the misunderstanding that is going on in our revolution, she wrote a poem titled Fix It. It put a mark in my heart, and I've dedicated my work, my life, to fixing it. And that is what We for Peace is all about. We will fix it, and Ambazonia will be free.
Thank you very much. Maybe somebody needs to mute.
Thank you. You're welcome.
You're welcome. My own last word is going to come from St. Paul's second letter to the Corinthians, chapter 13, verse 11 and verse 12. It says, brothers and sisters, rejoice. Fix your ways, encourage one another, agree with one another, live in peace, and the God of love and peace will be with you. Greet one another with a holy kiss. On this note, ladies and gentlemen, dear viewers, we come to the second segment of one session today, June 7, 2020. We encourage you to keep on SCBC with our programs, and SCBC broadcasts on satellite throughout sub-Saharan Africa and in the Western Hemisphere, in Europe and in the Americas. You can have SCBC on Roku, Apple TV, Fire Stick, and Sling. And on this note, ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned to 10-1 Conversation. Join us next week, same time, 7 p.m. on SCBC TV. On this note, enjoy your week ahead and stay blessed. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for coming.